remembrance keepers, the keepers of remembrance. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel again. So what I'm actually going to be doing today is discussing a gang stalking series that I wrote. I'm going to be reading portions of it and obviously speaking portions of it, adding to it during the recording. But basically what this is to really clarify what gang stalking is, because a lot of the times people think gang stalking is just people following you around in vehicles and just overt shit that you would think that gang stalking is, but it actually is way more sinister than that when you get into the deeper dynamics of it, and that's what I'm going to go into today. So what follows is going to be a 2-part video series that exposes the reality of gang stalking, which is a system of harassment, betrayal, and spiritual violation that targets those who carry light for the birthing of the new earth. So in this teaching, I'm going to break down the 3 faces of gang stalking, which is overt, covert, and astral. Overt is obviously going to be the visible face, easier to document and recognize, but the covert and the astral are far more destructive because they cut in silence and leave very little evidence behind. In fact, I have found very little information online or very few testimonials explaining what astral projection gang stalking really is. These are the tactics rarely spoken about, yet it is one of the ones that almost annihilated me, which is the astral projection gang stalking. So we're going to discuss that, not in this video, in the second video, but we're going to go over the overt and the covert in this particular video. So I'm going to speak from both personal experience and on behalf of the collective. So some of the details are going to be mine. Others are going to reflect the shared realities of prophets, star seeds, and earth angels across the globe. I've been awakened to this journey going over 4 years now, obviously spiritually awakened since the early 2000s, but I didn't actually have my actual Kundalini activation until 2022, March of 2022. So what I know is that each one of us, it doesn't matter, we all experience gang stalking differently, but the patterns reveal the same truth. It is designed to silence truth carriers before they ever remember who they truly are. So this series is going to walk you through the faces of gang stalking, the loops they create, and the way divine law renders every attack powerless once your remembrance in who you are takes root. So gang stalking doesn't happen to just anybody. It is reserved for those who carry codes of truth, spiritual weight, and divine purpose for the birthing of the new earth. It is for prophets, earth angels, star seeds, and every soul whose frequency carries the power to dismantle evil and corruption in this earth realm. Before you even awaken to who you are, the enemy moves in silence through intimidation, slander, gossip, astral invasion. Gang stalking is never random. There are going to be some people out there that maybe they aren't being gang stalked and a lot of it is in their head. But when you know that you are being spiritually awoken, and that's what kind of starts it, is when you are spiritually awakened, because the way you start perceiving things is so different, people are attracted to that. So you're going to get a lot of people who are stalking you from online. Even if you block them, they're going to make fake pages. They're going to still try to watch you because everything that you're doing is elevated now. And obviously to them, it looks like you're absolutely crazy when really you're just awakened. But gang stalking is a coordinated system of harassment, projection, and ritual abuse that specifically targets those who embody spiritual weight, those with voices, frequencies, and destinies powerful enough to disrupt entire bloodlines of corruption. The enemy is not one face. The enemy is anybody low vibrational enough to allow themselves to be taken over by lower density entities whose mission is to derail what you came to this earth plane to do within the age of truth, the age of Aquarius, the beginning of the Satya Yuga cycle. Most of the time, this happens unconsciously, so people around you are hijacked, they're influenced, and they're actually used without even realizing that they are serving a darker purpose. So they may think that they're just mocking you, that they're just gossiping about you, or retaliating to the truth that you are now spreading or spitting on your online Facebook page. But in truth, they're actually playing host to something much darker. I mean, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We wrestle against entities, principalities of darkness. And those principalities will take over a lower vibrational vessel. That's just the way it works. And those people don't even realize that they're being used a lot of the times. But then there's the conscious ones. So these are not people being manipulated. These are predators with agendas. So secret societies, people with sacred knowledge, with occult knowledge. So they understand exactly how the spirit realm works, and they willingly allow themselves to be vessels of destruction because they know that they can get things out of it for coming for certain people. And they've done it for so long during the Piscean age, and at this point, that power is being stripped from these people. It's being stripped from evil because the Most High is purifying the earth for the 1,000 years of peace that we're going to be getting to probably within the next 100, 200 years when this purification period is over. But they align with lower powers because they believe that there's something to gain. So money, authority, spiritual power of some sort. Some will even go so far as to attempt to sacrifice a chosen one or a truth carrier, and they will offer your light in exchange for their own advancement down here. Okay, so the first one that we are going to talk about is going to be overt gang stalking, which is the one that people think about the second anybody says gang stalking. So this is going to be the visible theater of harassment, and it is the face most people first become aware of. So it can look like neighbors slamming doors in unison in an apartment building just to drive you crazy. Strangers cough or repeat your private words in public. Cars follow you to Starbucks, follow you to the bank, follow you to work. They'll have one headlight, or they'll all be the same color. Just weird shit that you notice just so that they can try to make you feel crazy. Groups can stage humiliation rituals on the street. Sometimes it looks like neighbors in an apartment building banging and stomping in rhythm at the same time every night, calculated to drive you into paranoia. The purpose of overt gang stalking is always intimidation. It is to frighten you into silence by making you feel watched from every angle. It aims to fracture your sense of safety in the physical world. Overt gang stalking is meant to destabilize your nervous system. It trains your body into hypervigilance. You start listening for every door slam, every cough, every movement outside your window. You start second guessing if what you're seeing is real or if it's orchestrated. And when you speak about it, people will write you off as crazy. And that confusion and the people calling you crazy, that is part of the plan. Because when you cannot trust your own senses, your voice begins to lose power. And because your voice is so powerful when you're a starseed, that is the number one thing that they want to do, is they just want to silence you. They want you to feel crazy. They want you to believe that you are crazy. So for many in the collective, overt gang stalking was the entry point, the first glimpse into something much deeper. It is unnerving, of course, but it's also recognizable. So people can record it. You can share proof of it online. It leaves patterns that are easier to track. But what most do not realize is that overt gang stalking is only the surface of what gang stalking really is. It is simply the loud, distracting face, while the deeper destruction often hides in silence, in the covert gang stalking and the astral gang stalking. So, if overt gang stalking is the loud theater designed to intimidate you, covert gang stalking is the silent dagger designed to annihilate reputations and corrode trust. It is far more dangerous because it hides in plain sight. It does not show up as obvious harassment. It shows up in whispers, twisted words, and betrayals delivered behind your back. Covert gang stalking is psychological warfare at its sharpest. It is humiliation rituals carried out by the very people that you once trusted the most. These are your friends, family, co-workers, ex-partners, those who had access to your private life. They begin to spin narratives about you that are carefully constructed to ruin your name behind your back. You are painted as evil, manipulative, mentally unstable. They seed lies with just enough fragments of truth to make them believable. And then they deliver them in secret, making for absolute sure that you are not there to defend yourself at any point in time. The cruelty of covert gang stalking lies in how personal it feels. These are not random strangers slamming doors in a building anymore. These are literally people who once claimed to know who you are and know your heart. So this type of betrayal cuts twice as deep because it weaponizes intimacy. These are people who know you. So they know your weaknesses, they know your past mistakes, your old wounds, and they purposely distort them into ammunition. And once the mob gains momentum, it no longer stops at gossip anymore. People of authority can be dragged in and manipulated into joining the campaign. So this can include police officers, bosses, landlords, teachers, lawyers, judges, community leaders. Some are swayed unconsciously, believing the lies because of how convincing these people are able to deliver them. Because, who's not going to listen to your own family about you, right? Others are bribed, paid off, or fully aware of the destruction they are participating in. And some are so intoxicated by their own authority that they will abuse their power willingly, bending laws or using their influence to make the smear campaign look legitimate. When authority joins in the attack, the weight multiplies. It's no longer feeling like it's just neighbors gossiping or just people gossiping and slandering anymore. It feels like an entire system pressing down on you. And just remember, it's because these people know that you're going through an awakening of some kind. They know that you are changing. They see it in the way that you're perceiving things, in the way that you're talking about things. And at the very beginning of having a Kundalini awakening, you lash out because you're being shown truth of all the people around you. And when you start telling the truth about these people, they want to do every single thing that they can to destroy you because they can't stand a mirror being put up in front of their faces, because that deep down they know that it's true. They know you're speaking truth. And finally, they're feeling like you can see them in all their dysfunctional glory. And so when these people involve authority, It just helps the smear campaign carry some sort of credibility in the eyes of the public. Their participation in it can make the lies appear indisputable. This is probably one of the most devastating aspects of covert gang stalking, because it hijacks the trust people place in authority and it turns it into a weapon of exile. So you feel very ostracized, and you start feeling that before you even realize what's being done. But what this really is word witchcraft. This is pretty much where word witchcraft does its most lasting damage. A single rumor about you can shift an entire community. People you've never spoke to will begin to treat you with suspicion. Closed doors in your faces. Opportunities vanish without explanation. You're cast as dangerous, narcissistic, unstable, abusive. And in psychological terms, this is simply just projection. They're smearing you with the very same qualities that they themselves embody. So in spiritual terms, it's sorcery. Words spoken with malicious intent carry an energy that corrupts perception and poisons the collective mind. I personally lived this. Friends I thought that were solid turned cold overnight. Family who once leaned on me for strength, or I leaned on them for strength, suddenly wanted absolutely nothing to do with me. I became the villain in stories that I was not present for, in stories that I never wrote. Conversations about me spread in rooms that I was not in. Entire versions of me were created. Versions that were unrecognizable to my own heart. The deepest wound came from realizing that people who once claimed to love me were now the very ones fueling the fire, throwing matches into the fire. Covert gang stalking intensifies the exact moment that you awaken to purpose. When you have that Kundalini awakening, people are like, what is going on with this person? They want to call you crazy. And then at the same time, they know that there's something different about you. They know that there's something happening to you, but they don't want it to be you. They don't want you to go through this refinement. They don't want you to find the Most High. Especially religious people. Oh my God. Before remembrance, the rumors may be scattered about you, whispers in certain circles, casual exaggerations of your mistakes that you've made throughout your life. But once you begin to embody truth and speak with spiritual authority, the attacks multiply. Those invested in your silence start panicking, because they've put so much bullshit out there about you. They know that if your voice rises, their lies collapse. People are going to see you for who you truly are on this journey. Eventually, they are going to see you. And even if they don't want to, they're going to be forced with seeing who you are. This is when the slander turns into a full-blown smear campaign, when you awaken. What was once isolated gossip becomes constant character assassination. Stories are retold with new plot twists. Exaggerations become outright fabrications. And the closer you move into purpose with the Most High, the more determined they become to fucking ruin you. They want to remove your essence completely off this planet. And some of them just want it for themselves. So get rid of you so they can try to embody what they're witnessing. It's crazy when it really comes down to it, how deep this shit goes. A genuine awakening will trigger jealousy, fear, and rage in people who have chosen not to rise. Because you have to remember, anybody that's being chosen for a Kundalini activation by the Most High is already living righteously. They're already have a good heart. They already have good intentions for the people around them. They don't do fuck shit in the shadows to try to fuck people over, to try to get one up on them, steal shit from them, whatever. They don't do that weird manipulative bullshit, and they're surprised as they wake up that there are so many people around them that do. So these people get really jealous when you're chosen to have something so profound. It exposes the shadows of those around you, and instead of facing their own wounds, they project all their shit onto you. Covert gang stalking thrives in this type of environment. They will do absolutely anything to convince everybody, the entire world, that your remembrance is madness, that your clarity is delusion, and that your purpose from the Most High is a threat, that you're evil, that you're a witch, that there's something wrong with you. The cruelty is that this escalation often comes as you are just most vulnerable. Like I said before, early awakening is already disorienting. You're shedding old layers. You're questioning your reality. You're learning to trust your intuition and your inner world, your inner voice. And to be met with betrayal and slander in that fragile state, it's like being struck while your armor is still forming. That is why covert gang stalking has destroyed so many truth carriers before their roots could take hold. A lot of people take themselves out. A lot of people do. And it's sad, but it's the truth. And here's the part that a lot of people don't see. When covert gang stalking fails to break a target, when the whispers, the rumors, the narcissistic smear campaign doesn't drag you into despair, the mob escalates. They turn to the spirit realm. Money changes hands. Spiritual practitioners are hired. Covens, rogue spiritualists, and even secret societies are called upon to do what lies and gossip could not accomplish. When character assassination fails to pull a chosen one, a code carrier, or truth speaker into a low vibrational state, the next step is always ritual. What begins in the natural, gossip, betrayal, humiliation, is then handed off to the supernatural. Word curses become spell work. Smear campaigns turn into blood rituals. They move from whispering behind your back to moving in the unseen to fracture your spirit. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. This is how covert gang stalking so often hands its torch to astral projection gang stalking. Okay, so this video did happen to go a little longer than I thought it would. So if you're still here, I would love it if you would click on the second video that I release where I go way deeper. Because once again, these two are really only the visible layer. Well, the second one, the covert gang stalking, I mean, it's visible, but it's also done behind your back. But in part 2, we are going to go into what astral projection gang stalking is, which is the unseen side of spiritual harassment that almost destroyed me. And that, very few people I have come across speak about this publicly because it makes them look absolutely unhinged. And I'm at the point where I don't give a shit anymore. I don't care. We're going to go into dream invasion, psychic surveillance, energetic intrusion, targeted spiritual attacks, and the way that these tactics are used against truth carriers during awakening. The overt is loud, the astral is silent. And for many chosen souls, that is where the real spiritual warfare begins. And I appreciate you guys stopping by. Peace.